Hello everybody, let's exit to port. At the time of recording, it is the 24th of March at 14:05 Central European Time. I do believe we haven't quite entered into the summertime, but I think it's coming up in a Sunday very soon-ish. And I would like to suggest to all the governments in the world out there, can we just get rid of summer/winter time and just have time? Pretty please. Please and thank you. Yours truly, Tiger. First, I want to address the rumors in the non-existent comments. Yes, I know. There was no YouTube episode for February. Don't sue me, okay? Because it is on Spotify. It is on all the other places. It's on Patreon. It's on all the other places, but it's not on YouTube yet because it's uploading as we're speaking. Why that has happened, I don't know. Because I know I uploaded it. I know I scheduled it. Because all of these things are checked off in my little kind of workbook where I do that for anything I do for YouTube. But when I went to check for the comments, it wasn't there. So you're getting a double helping now. So there's that. Although, I don't know. Maybe for the sake of making things easier for ourselves, we just upload to Patreon and to Buzzsprout or whatever we choose to host it. Who knows? The less places, the better. And honestly, the more I'm working with Patreon, the more I'm kind of appreciative of it. So, I mean, we could do a whole thing with Fourth Wall and do. Actually, why haven't we contacted Fourth Wall and have memberships there? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's welcome to the podcast, everybody. It's one of those days, and you know what we also have? We have one of them co-hosts. Hi, Grumbles.
Hello.
Hello.
'Tis I.
Yes, 'tis you. I'm just gonna apologize right off the bat because it's a weird morning. My co-host was missing for many hours. I was getting worried. I went shopping without having breakfast. My brain is a mess today. So there's that. Anyway, we're going to talk about games. And mostly just games today because we don't really have anything for content creation. And we don't really have anything for Know Your Role either. And that's fine. Because it's not every episode we're going to have a slew of topics and things and everything to talk about. Which is fine. We don't have to have a 3-hour podcast every time, do we?
Sometimes less is more.
That's...
Now, just because there's less titles listed doesn't... I wouldn't exclude the possibility of us still managing to stretch to 3 hours because we ramble on.
What? We would never.
Challenge accepted.
No, let's not. Every time we manage to get a podcast in that is sub 2 hours, I'm honestly proud. Because it feels like a bit of an achievement for us.
Yep.
And a lot of the things on the dock today will be quickly just mentioned and then thrown into the port. I'm trying to stick to kind of our theme since we're called Exit to Port. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna start with one of the games that I've been playing recently, and that I actually beat yesterday evening. It's called Timber Rush, and it's a game that came out in full release not long ago, and it's a super simple game that is almost perfect for those moments where an ADHD brain just needs a tiny bit of stimulation and just watch numbers go burr. So it's a semi-idle game where you start with a very simple lumberjack, and that lumberjack, like, he swings at the tree automatically. Like, there's no click, 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 click to swing. No. Like, he does that, right? He does that. And then every time he swings at the tree, there's a log that flies out of the tree, and you have to go collect it. That gives you 1 lumber. You spend this lumber in the tech tree. The tech tree gives you upgrades. It gives you a longer running time for how long you can stand there and chop, because you start out with just basically 20 seconds, which means there's almost no time to actually do anything, because he's like, chop, chop, chop. You know, and then you have to run and pick it up, meaning you can't just do all the chopping and then run and pick up. So you got to time it. You got to see where am I doing okay. And for and you gain levels. Like you gain XP based on how much chopping you do.
Right.
And for every level, you then get kind of like almost a roguelike choice of different values that can then be upped. And it can be everything from your felling damage, aka how much damage your player does. It can be your crit chance, your crit strike damage. It can be the chance of a higher rarity on the upgrade, because the upgrades, like these different ones, let's say you have a critical strike chance upgrade in front of you, and then you have the gray version. It'll give you like a 0.1% extra crit chance. Then you have the green one, which would give you 0.25. Ooh. You know, and then it goes to a blue, a purple, and a yellow. So you have common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. And the higher the value of these, the more rare it is, right? And that means it gives you more. So you kind of go through this, and all of these values and everything will be in the tech tree. So over time, when you get enough lumber, you go into the tech tree and you spend that on whatever is in there. I'm not going to go through it all, because it's one, it's a lot, and two, it'll ruin some of the fun for people to do choices and such.
Right.
But something that I noticed a bit into the game was, I have gold coins. Why do I have gold coins? This is weird. All right. It turns out there's also a choice of different axes.
Oh.
And you can upgrade these axes. So you have the basic axe you start with, and you have to pay 5 gold coins per time you want to upgrade it. And it can be upgraded a set amount of times. And the first one, you just simply get more damage, meaning you do more damage per chop, and that means that the value of the lumber you get is higher.
Okay.
More damage equals more lumber, right?
Right.
And it's amazing how quickly it escalates and coalesces into a whole idea of, okay, if I go for these values and I get that lumberjack, that means that it kind of synergizes with those values, and so on and so forth. And I bought this game on when was that? It's a few days ago now. I think it's about a week ago. And it's been on like since I bought it. Okay, let me have a look here. Steam, where are you? Timber Rush. I picked this game up on March 19th. And since March 19th, I have 30 hours played in it. It's a $5 game, and it's amazing for just keeping the brain tiny bit occupied with because every time you pick up a log, it does a little plop sound. Like there's a good little plop sound that you just enjoy. And then you see the progress, you see the choices getting better and better, and it's like I said, it's a semi-idle, slight roguelike, but not really roguelike. Like I struggle with describing this thing, but for $5, this is fabulous, and it's still being updated, and there's going to be more, I think. So, Timber Rush, get yours today. That's where I'm at. So that's been my kind of let's just distract the brain from it. And yesterday I got through the entire tech tree. I beat it, and it honestly felt like an achievement. And it's so weird. So now I'm wondering, do I reset and go for a speed run, or what do I do? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. It also has a demo available for free at the moment as well.
It does, yeah. Even though it's in full release, it does have a demo. So, yeah. But
that's cool.
Speaking of other timbers that have been recently full released, actually, I think they had a full release at a very similar date. Timberborn.
Yeah, it was around 16th, 17th. I can't remember the exact date.
Oh, I should probably update what topics were actually on here in front of me so that I don't forget that. There we go. Nobody noticed anything. It's fine. Oh,
yep.
That's both of those there.
What's important is when we do have a little slip up like that, we're both very, very good at not drawing attention.
Yeah,
to
we don't call ourselves out or anything else. Like
no,
we
it's just a smooth segue.
Yeah, the smoothest of segues.
Yeah, like it never happened.
Like I didn't totally forget to have the game's Timber Rush name up on screen while we were talking about it, but it now says Timberborn because we're talking about it. That's good
because we wouldn't want to confuse everybody talking about it without having it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Timberborn just went 1.0. A whole bunch of updates, some passes on some of the maps and things. Some new maps were added. One of which we started playing called Oasis, which was cool. And they added some automation stuff in as well, which I've not progressed to yet. And yeah, it was great to get an opportunity, thanks to Mechanistry and an intermediary setting us up for a little sponsored event and everything. And I was like, sponsored event for Timberborn that I already love. Sure, let's go. So that was a nice little happy accident. And yeah, they've just done such an outstanding job with that game. It's so relaxing and enjoyable. I know it's like all those colony sims. There's the moments where you're like, oh dear, oh no, it's all gone wrong. Oh, I forgot to do a thing or whatever. Yeah. Or the bad floods are coming. But yeah, just overall, just a very enjoyable and for me anyway, quite sort of calming game. But also just very good for sort of chat interaction and enjoying sharing it with people too. So really, really enjoyed playing and picking that one up again. And I can't wait, really. The biggest problem we've got now is just the one, the age-old one that we often refer to, but it's just too many things going on and needing that an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to play this game for a month. It may be amongst other things. If I wasn't already trying to replay Red Dead Redemption story, I'd probably say, okay, we'll put Timberborn in the regular slot, play that one through for a month, and have other stuff rotating around it. But that's what we're doing with Red Dead at the moment. So yeah, just really enjoyed it. And of course, they sent me the charming little hand carved beavers as well. And he said otters then. That would have gone horribly wrong. And yeah, that's just a nice little icing on the cake kind of thing. So the funny thing was they'd asked for our details ages ago, like months and months ago, and obviously to time it with the release. And I just kind of assumed, like with most things, that people are sending things to me that never get here because German customs intercepts them or whatever. They just go missing. I've not had a good track record with receiving things people have sent me. So I just assumed that that was gone into the void as well. And then literally Stats sent me a picture of like, oh, I just got these. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. Unfortunately, mine disappeared into the void, which is pretty much my response to him. Like the next morning, I got 2 emails, one in German and one in English from FedEx saying, oh, you got a package arriving. One of them said on Thursday, one said on Friday, which was even better. I'm like, okay, do you guys talk to each other at all? Or, anyway, and then it ended up arriving on the Thursday, so that was cool. And yeah, and then I got an email from both of them in both languages saying, huzzah, your package arrived. It's like, well, I know that because I've just signed for it 20 minutes ago. But anyway, thanks for the extra emails. Yeah, but they're awesome, and I'm super happy and appreciative that the Mechanistry sent those through. It's a very sort of rare thing for me. Because, you know, it's one thing to get keys and everything, which is the thing we're usually after, so we can play games with our friends and our audiences. But it's nice to get an actual physical gift on top as well. So
here's a question to you.
Mm-hmm.
How much has happened in this game since February 4th, 2022? Because that's when I last played.
I would say a lot. So there's lots of things you can do more with verticality. There's the new automation stuff they just brought in. There are new maps plus optimizations and graphical updates to several of the maps as well. Yeah, in my view, a lot. I would definitely recommend dipping your toe back into it again if you enjoyed it the first time, because it'll be all that and then a whole bunch more.
So in 2022, it was a very raw game. It was brand new. It was brutal because it was unbalanced at the time.
Right.
So at that point, I said, this is definitely something that has potential, but it's going to require a lot of focus from me in order to understand how to balance things, how to achieve things, and just simply how to get it be enjoyable. Because a lot of the time for me, like for instance with the Jurassic Park games, I played them very meticulously,
right?
In case shit, and that's how I approach these games. It's the whole if I plan out this and I make sure this is there, then that means that the dinosaur won't get sick and so on. So that's also how I would play Timberborn. And back then that wasn't possible. It wasn't possible for me to have that cautious enough approach, because with a tiny imbalance, my entire structure then kind of failed and everybody died of drought or whatever. It was it's not an enjoyable thing, but it was like I very much saw the enjoyability of the game and was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I can definitely see this and come back to it, but I haven't touched it since.
Stats describes it as like everything is fine, and then all of a sudden the thing you forgot to do like 20 minutes ago or an hour ago comes back to bite you or whatever. But I guess that I think that's part of the challenge. Maybe ask him, because possibly he plays it a bit more similarly to you do. How you do? I'm a bit more kind of go with the flow and see what happens, I guess, pun intended. And but I also play it at slow pace as well, so I maybe can recover from the mistakes a bit easier than if it was sped up more. But I definitely would recommend, because I just find it a very fun game. Have another go at it, and I guess the good thing is you've got the experience and the memory of what you did and didn't like last time, so you'd probably be able to spot quite quickly whether it feels off. There's also lots of mods, I think, available for it now as well. So maybe that's something to look into.
I mean, even back then, there were a lot of mods for it, which is amazing when thinking about it, how new the game was. Because I think in 2022, like early 2022, that's when I think it was just a few months old at the time. And that's when I got I got a key for it through Keymailer or whatever. Can't remember.
Okay.
But I did get an instant kind of, hey, you should check this game out. We want you to check it out. I was like, okay, let's do it then. But yeah, no, I've definitely enjoyed watching people play it. But yeah, like you said, gotta have time for it all.
Yeah.
Gotta have time for it all. I mean, it kind of brings me over to our next game that we're going to talk about. It's a time when they had a lot of time. It's medieval times. That was not my best segue. Anyway, going medieval. It has made a resurgence on Twitch, I'd say. Because this is not a new game, is it?
No. Been around quite a long time.
Then
I think it was...
Why?
Which one was this? Was this... Go ahead.
Why has it popped up again? Because it's not just one person I've seen play it. There's plenty of people I've seen play it. But that could be because it also has to do with my kind of social circle.
Yeah, well, it just had its 1.0 full release. So
That'll
I think
be
it's one
why
of those,
then.
like, after a long, long time.
Right.
I can't remember exactly. I think it was 2008. I'm trying to look it up now, but I'm not seeing it because they've replaced the dates with the full release date. But yeah, this one just went 17th of March into full 1.0. Luckily, or not luckily, I guess it doesn't really matter. But for me personally, it's the first time I'm playing it. So I'm having an absolute blast because it's, it's got your RimWorld-esque plus your Stranded Alien Dawn, which have the different levels, but this one's got 16 layers, so like 8 below and 8 above, which is pretty awesome and unique as far as I know in these kind of games. And yeah, it's just kind of got this charming medieval slant to it. It's obviously done with to be somewhat lighthearted. And yeah, I'm enjoying the heck out of it so far. Again, playing it at my usual slow pace, so I'm not seeing a lot of the things yet. A little bit concerned because further down the line in the tech tree, there's siege weapons and all sorts of shenanigans like that, and I'm pretty sure things are going to be on fire and burning as usual. It's got built-in Twitch integration, fairly limited, but people can get their name in the game, appear as wild animals in the game, give you a gift, or give you the gift of a lightning strike near your encampment somewhere, which sets fire to the surrounds. So yeah, plenty in there for everyone to do, including Jurak.
And I quote, I'm gonna go on a break. Please watch my colony. I'll be right back. What could possibly go wrong? Cue Tiger going, is he gone? And then strike. It did nothing. However, not long after, when you came back from your break, there was a certain Scotsman, who shall not be named Jurak, who then did a strike, which then lit the entire other side of the river on fire, almost.
Yeah.
It felt like, at least. That thing burned for a while.
It was a huge, exactly. So there's no rainfall at that point. So yeah, I think that was the biggest, most impressive kind of strike that I've seen so far, or the repercussions thereof. But yeah, I mean, let's just go with it's fun, right? Sure, it's fun. So no, but all jokes aside, thoroughly enjoyable. It's nice. What I liked about it was, because I've tried Twitch integrations on a couple of other things like RimWorld and that, and whilst you can tweak and configure a lot of them, it's not so straightforward, or at least for me anyway. And I found myself getting it's either you get overpowered because people are just giving you way too many things, or people are just ruining your playthrough because they just can't help themselves, and bad stuff's happening all the time. Even just what was one of the ones we saw where people got a bit complacent with like throwing gifts, but what they realize is if the gifts came down in these escape pods, they would bust through your roof and smash up your housing and everything. All your heating and cooling being ruined, your food area, hitting items and destroying them. So people were just giving gifts just for the fun of watching the pods land and smash my stuff up. So I want to do that again at some point. But this one is pretty gentle. It's got some simple timers, like how many minutes or seconds until between people can give gifts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also the gifts are just RNG based. So somebody might give you a whole bunch of apples, and then the next person gives a gift a few minutes later, and it's like a pile of dung. You're like, oh, what am I supposed to do with that? You've literally shit gifted me. It's so but I definitely recommend it. I feel like the game it's super fun. It's really enjoyable to use the different layers, and also to, especially for me, I like building it in games, and you can kind of control the shapes and the materials and stuff like that. And there's this nice feature that building pieces are often not like fully locked. Like you can change the cosmetics of them or the angles, or make it look like a different rounded wall and stuff like that after you've built it.
Right.
For free. So it's just the voxels are in place, but then you can adjust the aesthetic of them and they have the same hitbox or whatever. So that's a really neat little feature. So I really enjoy the building and just making a castle walls and starting to build up my village how I want it to look, and that. Really, really fun. There's some bits of it that I feel like you can see, okay, obviously they've put the passion and the quality of life in all the right areas. And then there's a few bits where it's like, oh, this could use a little bit of polish, or, here and there, but they're little bits that aren't really, as an example, like the way the figures move and that's obviously an artistic choice that they've made, but I feel like it's a bit goofy the way the characters run. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because one, they're usually running to maybe put a fire out or whatever, deal with some attackers, so it doesn't matter. And two, it's not really something you focus on when you're playing the game. You focus on all the other aspects of it, and the game's just got nice little quality of life aspects to it. And what it shows is that they have Lady L looked it up, and they have like a really active Reddit thread, and they're really engaged with their community, and you can see like the development over the years. They've done many updates based almost exclusively on just like the feedback they've had from the player base. So that's a really healthy place, and that's why I think another reason why maybe 1.0 is quite popular, because players have really appreciated the way the devs have gone about evolving the product with them.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely see the similarities to RimWorld and other similar colony managers. But I think one of my favorite parts of kind of seeing how it is how easily it integrates with Twitch. Having watched Skype of Cthulhu play a bit of RimWorld, and then saying in chat to him, is there a reason why we're not going full Lely and doing the Twitch integration? And he said, I need to spare myself a bit because it's been a long time since I played. And then yesterday he was playing, and one of the things I see in chat from that was Slow Burn Spongiform redeemed a custom reward, raccoons. And I'm like, huh. And apparently it spawned a lot of raccoons because I think and this was after Tilted said, quite a little zoo you've got here. So yeah, he's doing the toolkit thing, but I really loved the way Going Medieval did that whole thing, like with the here's a gift, you have to go claim it if you want it, if not then it'll just disappear. Like it felt very easy or just how easy it is to just pop up as a viewer. Like I can just be like appear, and then ta-da, you're an animal.
Yeah, they kept it nice and simple.
Yeah,
and it works.
And I'm all for that. Like keep it simple. Like for those things, keep it simple. But it definitely adds the interactivity and the joy of things. So yeah, which is cool. And I've just remembered another game that I need to talk a tiny bit about, but I'll mention that in a segue probably. Going Medieval just came into 1.0. What's your verdict on it for others? Like, what's like if you know people play game X, who should pick this up?
I think anybody that has enjoyed like some of the games we mentioned already, if you've enjoyed RimWorld, if you've enjoyed Clanfolk, if you've enjoyed I think Foundation is one that springs to mind that I've looked at a tiny amount, Stranded, Alien Dawn, and you like sort of medieval kind of setting, I think that's kind of an important part, because there's no sense of like, oh, we're going to progress up to the space age or whatever, you know. I think that's one of the areas where the game needs a bit more polish, a bit more love, is the tech tree and the overall progression. Everything works, and it kind of makes sense. It just, one, it takes a heck of a long time to get there, and two, there's not much of it. So it sounds a bit contradictory, but I think the reason it takes a long time is because there's not a lot to it. That said, the last thing I'll add specifically about the game, because I just remembered this, that's a really nice new unique feature, I think. I mean, it's going to be horrible when it happens, but the tech tree points, as it were, that you spend are knowledge books. So you get people working at a research bench, but they actually produce chronicles and books, rather than it just being some kind of weird non-tangible points force or whatever. And what that means is you have to safeguard those books and put them in like a library room or bookshelf somewhere, or just in your storage, whatever.
Right. Okay.
But if they get stolen or a fire breaks out and whatever, and they get burned up, essentially you don't lose the tech you have, but you have to make back all of those books and chronicles that you had to a value of those points before you can learn your next technology. So it's like a major setback. I'm sure it's going to be horrible when it happens, but as a concept, I love that idea, rather than it just being a throwaway, like, oh, we learned that, so we don't need to ever think about that anymore.
Nice. I mean, I like that system, because it's then not it's not just a be all end all kind of knowledge thing. It's something that plays into the game that you then have to take care of. I like that. That's a cool system.
Yep.
Trying to think of a good segue here, but there's no good segue over to Foxhole. It's honestly not a good segue over to Foxhole. I'm just gonna be that brutal and say that, because how do you go for something medieval? I guess we could have gone Siege Warfare, but because you've been doing that.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on Foxhole, because if you know, and we've talked about it on and off. But I wanted to just bring it up briefly because I'm still enjoying the absolute heck out of it. # not addicted. I can stop anytime I want.
Sure.
But the two things is, one, it's just amazing to see like literally thousands of people hopping on and off over weeks and weeks. The first war on the main server, if you will, the Able server, # sweaty tryhards, that just ended, and that took 42 days. Our war is still raging. And so if you think about like, everything you've gone through, like when everyone starts off with like pistols and basic rifles and some shirts, and that's about it. And then all the tech progression, getting nukes working, tanks, logi trucks, all, train systems, all sorts of things. So 42 days for that war. And the collapse was quite quick as well. It's been quite a stalemate most of the time. So the collapse has happened in about the last 3 to 4 days.
Oh, wow.
Eventually the attrition gets to everyone. Yeah, just been thoroughly enjoying it. But the only thing I will say as well is this was obviously the big airborne update, and there's been quite a few people having fun with the planes and everything. But for us on the Charlie and in a smaller group, it's been really painful because it's so expensive in game terms. So I really wanted to say two things. One, to the devs, thanks for airborne in brackets light scout plane edition. Please make other big planes more affordable. Even if you have to nerf the damage or because at the moment they're pretty powerful, but whatever.
Right.
There's a trade-off that can be done, but they're just so painful because even when you built the plane, you can't just put it away and store it and store the parts easily. You have to take bits off them again and put the airframe away, and it's just a nightmare. Like it's uber grind unnecessarily, I think. They did take a leaf out of Wargaming's book because the AA is not strong enough anyway. And cheap shot, I know. But what I will say is I want to really especially shout out to the team we've been working with, who's gaming now's regiment and the Barovian troop. They've been absolutely phenomenal. We've had lots of people like hopping on, first timers, people coming back and playing the game because they hadn't played it for years and they see us all having fun with it and everything. And it's just really good. And the amount of effort and the brilliance, the sheer genius of and all the time and effort to calculate and work out all the facilities and how to produce all the different things, and lots of teamwork and training people up and sharing ideas of how to develop things, as well as the frontline fun and playing in the tanks and all that kind of stuff. It's just been an excellent experience. So big shout out to our team because, we're a small group and there's generally like 3 to 5 of us on a lot of the time. And we've done stuff that I think, normally 10, 15 people would probably do. But we've managed to do it in a way where it's kind of quite balanced and that we're not sweating it. So it's taken a long time, but we're having fun with it and nobody's burned out, So it's been a good experience.
I like that. I need to try to learn some of the logistics and like the creation of the materials and so on at some point. I have Foxhole. I've just last time I tried to hop in on it, the war ended.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that happens.
Well, okay.
But they usually fire up quite quickly. Like it's usually about a week or so, and then there's another one going. So
yeah, but then nobody I knew was playing. So
no, I get that. Yeah. Well, anytime you want to hop on and learn stuff, just hit us up and we can let you know. Okay, yes, we're going to be around or not, and if we're going to be around, we can train you up on it. It's one of the most fun parts. One of the most frustrating parts is the learning curve, which is what does stats call it, the learning cliff or something. But at the same time, one of the most fun aspects is when people get together and just train each other. Like I've seen people in game, like literally training dozens of people. I see there's 1 or 2 guys that I see them training all the time. They're like, right, new recruits or whatever, turn up here and I'm going to teach you how to do topic ABC. For everything from backline all the way through to the front line. It's really, really good to see and a kind of a pleasure to watch. So
yeah, because that's something that I want to do. I want to see it like the process of going from what do you do at the first start to where does it end up? Like how do we make bomb out of thing? Like I want to see that process. That's kind of what I want to learn so that I have an understanding that. Okay, if we're lacking this, right, I can go do these things to either prevent enemy from having this, or I can go do these things to get us these materials or whatever we need.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So, an understanding of things, simply put.
And that's the good thing with our group is we do everything, pretty much. And there's a few high-end things that we don't do because it would just be ridiculous. We either would just not achieve it, or everyone would burn out like in a month.
Right.
Or in a week, but generally speaking, we do a bit of absolutely everything in the game. So, I'm like you as well in that regard. I like to understand. Okay, when I start with my hammer on a salvage field and I just go tap tap tap, what happens then? I've got this rubbish in my hand. Where does that go? And then seeing that all the way through the front line, and watching a medic heal an injured colleague. And carry them back to the medical tent or whatever, and being like, oh, okay, so I can see the chain of events. So everything I did hitting my hammer on that salvage field turned into the gun, the bullet, the uniform, the med kit, the bandage, you know, etc., etc. The ambulance that they drove back in, what, you know, the logistics truck that carried the resources down in the first place, and you can really see the end to end really, really well. And then you look at the map, and then you see the scale of the whole game, where it's like each hex caters for about 240 players, 120 each side.
Mm.
And then you look at how, I don't know how many hexes there are exactly, but like 50 or whatever. It's kind of insane. I think it's 64 actually. Come to think of it, I'm not sure about that, but yeah, it's one of the best games I've ever played in terms of this sheer scale of it, and the fact that you can do all sorts of different things and then lose yourself in it for days at a time. It's really good in that regard.
So, the understanding of the chain of events and such is important, and I'm just gonna say that this is my perfect segue into the next game. Because Ham the game, when we have no option of sitting down and looking at things, like I know we all went in blind pretty much.
Yep.
Which was probably a very, very big mistake on our end. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there and I was not understanding. I was not seeing consequence. I was not seeing where things were fitting in. It was just people yelling, and it was getting to me very quickly. Because it made me want to yell, and I was like, no. I need to understand, what is it we are doing? Why are we doing it? Where are we doing it? Do we have multiple places of doing it? If so, can we agree on maybe using only these things? Who knows? And we talked a bit about it on the last map. For those who are not familiar with Ham the game, you are a production team to make ham. You spawn the ingredients. That costs you money. You then take said ingredients, one of each. You feed them into the machine. There are different machines, all depending on what ham, but the basic one has salt. I think we settled on it being lard or whatever. I'm not sure. And meat.
Yeah.
3 ingredients. That's the yellow ham, right? That's yellow. And here's the thing. I could take 5 salt and feed that into the machine. But nowhere was it clear to me if I could then take 1 ham and 1 lard and feed it in and then get 1 ham, or did I need to have equal amounts? Was it so that 5 ham and 5 of all the others made 1 package? Like there was no correlation. There was nobody looking at these things. There was no talking. There was no communication, and it was driving me bonkers because I was basically trying to learn in a very, very, very loud environment. Yeah. And
I experienced that as well. I think that I agree with you that so I think the fact that we tried to just dive in and have fun with it was not necessarily a mistake, because we didn't know kind of how the game was set up and what the game was kind of gonna do to us in that context. So in hindsight, sure, because that was quite the learning curve and too challenging. I think that there's 2 aspects to it. I think that going into it sort of blind as we did would have been fine if and I think again it's one of those kind of early access, and it was nice of them to give us all access as a group, so we could have a go and everything. We definitely appreciate that, but it did show for sure that it needs a lot of work, as games generally do in that kind of state. So that's completely fine and normal. I think we struggled a bit because one, everybody's kind of off trying to do their thing, and we're all learning the game at our own different paces and different ways. I think part of the problem the biggest part of the problem for me was that the way they developed the game is it escalated super quickly. So it escalated in different ways. The time constraints more or less stayed the same, although they weren't that clear. Now, I will add to this that of all of us, I think only Doc had run the tutorial briefly a few days beforehand. So that might not have helped, but I think that ultimately I would still point a little bit towards the balancing, which they're going to, I assume, work on, where we played on easy mode and the game escalated so quickly in a couple of different ways. One, obviously the number of different orders and the complexity of what we were creating. But two, this was compounded by what I feel really caught us off guard, was they mixed up the factory every single time immediately after the next level, and they mixed it up really significantly. It changed setting. We went from the Earth to the moon kind of thing. We went from things being like on more or less one level or whatever mostly, to like multiple levels in play, then multiple different recipes. It was so I felt like there was no hand holding in a positive sense at all, and that left us all a little bit agitated and confused. And then, like, as a group, we're all kind of, what's the right way of putting it, like there's a competitive element in terms of each individual wanting to do well and master it and work out, and that's perfectly natural, makes sense. But when everyone's kind of confronted with this very agitating, confusing environment, and then which also needs tons of communication all the time, which we haven't, had experience of before, and we've not set out any kind of rules for communication or what we're communicating in what order and that kind of thing. I was doing my best as the manager role to try and calm it all down and do it in a very sort of structured and time boxing way, but that, everybody's kind of, the rest of you, I felt really bad for you because you're running around on these confusing floors on these maps and being like, where is everything? Like, I understand what you're saying, and you want us to do this, but what the hell do I do? Where do I do it? That was all
of my kind of question, because I'm sitting there and there's nobody talking to me about things they've learned, things they've understood. Like there was nobody going, over here is where we spawn things, and then you can be like, oh, where is that? Let me go see. And then you'd be like, aha. Like there was none of that, where I'm normally at kind of like a like, so that we all have an understanding of what we're looking at. And I've always been like this. And when there's no exchange of experience and no exchange of learning, and I'm just being told to do stuff, that's when a whole lot of things kick off in my brain. There's everything from oppositional defiant disorder, where it's like, don't tell me what to do, to why am I doing it, because I don't have an understanding of it, like I'll gladly do it, but I don't understand why I'm doing it, there's that part. And there's a whole slew of it kind of kicking off, and I'm like, hello, can we just slow down? Can we start and understand the level? Because yes, we as gamers threw ourselves fully into it, and this is no fault of the game. I want to point that out. This is no fault of the game. We threw ourselves into it going full ham, pun intended. And as gamers, we had an understanding of what we needed to do and figured it out somehow. I have no idea how, but we did it, which was kind of cool. On the fly, the fact that we made it as far as we did with not failing, kind of cool. But it just it just so instantly ramped up, and with the underlying issues of not having that conversation, that exchange. I'm talking like a fucking project manager right now. Oh my god. That's when it starts to systematically fail, which is why there's a lot of failure going on the last part. There's all sorts of things going, and like you've already said, how quickly it ramped together with all the other things, it then kind of fell through. That said, this is definitely a game that I enjoy, but it needs polish, and it needs the ability for us to kind of soak up how is the level built up because of how they change things. I don't necessarily mind the changes as long as they give us a period of kind of going, okay, this is where we make these. Okay, this is yellow ham, this is red ham, this is green ham, whatever, and then where the things spawn and so on. Like, as long as they kind of allow us a bit of a walkthrough and then say, let's start the day now. Yeah. Instead of so, you spawn in, time is running instantly. Like, it's yeah.
That's why I think that that's why I do put a certain emphasis on the game design, because I feel like whilst it's not to say that we certainly had our faults in terms of how we were communicating, what we were communicating, because we were all just confronted with a whole bunch of confusing stuff. It was like, what is going on here? No idea. Let's just go. So, and that rarely works out that well in most settings anyway. But I think in a setting, if you think of our group in terms of like strengths and weaknesses, as it were, or whatever, or like things that will trigger and all the rest of it, and there's no single individual issue. We're all having our own issues and our own sort of interpretations of those. But overall, it wasn't a good scenario to be thrust into all of a sudden. I think in particular because of the way the game changed things up so rapidly. Like, the only way I would have done that differently in hindsight, like if I'd had more experience with the game or whatever, then I would have been like, okay, let's replay this first level like 3 times.
Yeah.
So that everybody gets the gist of it and we know what we're doing. And once we get to the point by the 3rd time where we're like, we should be bored of it, but smiling, thinking, okay, I need the next challenge, let's go. Then we move forward. But because the game, even though we were struggling with it a bit, the game still made it, and maybe that's the easier level thing, ironically, it was still like, oh, you did it, even though we probably came out of each level thinking, oh my god, that was horrible.
Did we though?
Yeah, exactly. We came out of it thinking, okay, let's run that again and we'll beat it this time. But the game was like, no, you won. You just kind of feel horrible about it.
Yeah.
Now have a wildly different scenario. Go.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where we struggle, because too many things were changing too rapidly and too significantly in too short of a space of time.
Yeah,
and then as you said, and then with on all the other things, I felt bad for Doc, and I could sense how frustrated he was because his OCD is very strong, as we know. And I'm like, how can you have OCD and play this game? Because everything is flying around all over the place all the time, and everything's in a different place. It's like that must have been absolute hell, being confronted with that for the first time as well. So, and your points as well. Like, I have to be saying what everyone needs to be doing, but if I can't see what you guys are doing, ironically, they have this big screen with all the deliveries coming in. It would have been cool if they'd had a panel of like CCTVs, so I could maybe see like really big screens, so I could see like what the area looked like. Oh, like I can see like Finland's on your left there. I'm looking on the screen and it's to the left, whatever, just to have, so that I had additional information, so that when I was giving out like instructions, they made more sense based on what you were seeing. But I was completely blind in the manager's office. So, and it's hard for you guys to relay what you needed or what you were looking at, because we're all feeling like we're under big time pressure. So you can't relay to me, okay, Grumbles, this is what the room looks like.
Yeah.
You know, I've got this on the left, I've got this in the middle, I've got this on the right, because there were multiple areas and we all were like, let's go, we're under time break, you know. So I think the only chance we had was where we said, we took that one round where we just said, let's just play this again and not do any of the orders, but just walk around the whole map and like learn it and see how things work. And then and there, I think there was a couple of little strange issues where I don't know if it was desync or whatever, but sometimes some of the systems would work for some of us, but not for others, and things like that. But I agree with you. My takeaway from it is this could be really cool. Hopefully they'll see sessions like that and be like, wow, okay, you know, I see the feedback. These are the things that people are enjoying. These are the things that they're finding too hard or too frustrating, and stopping them from wanting to play further. And they'll be able to, you know, adapt accordingly. So I'm hopeful for the future that we'll get to a point where also that they'll add a 5th player slot. That would be awesome.
There's no reason to not have a 5th player slot there.
Yeah. So make it happen, devs. So yeah, but it was definitely one of those, like we threw ourselves into it and it threw us back out again.
Yeah, at the
said,
very
no,
end.
you're not ready.
Yeah, at the very and that's like at the very end too. So I'm kind of happy where we made it, but that was through sheer force of our awesome gaminess or something. I don't know, not really.
Determination.
Yeah, spite, I think we call it. But no, it's this is where I kind of like the ability to walk around and see the different rooms, because if I knew what you were looking at, it would be easier for me to stand at a gate and throw a package in and say, okay, can you confirm that this is good before I send it, right? Or even have a bit more information for me. Like, if you could, I don't know, this might be a completely different game, but as a manager, assigning, this is the job we're working on right now, and saying, okay, we need these, right? We need these packages. Then everyone would know, okay, let's grab 2 green and 1 yellow, shove it in there, send it. What's the next one? And then kind of work through that way. But yeah, it's part of the communication, I guess. Like the need for communication. The manager sees what's needed, and then like, I'm not sure why I would need to hit the button on the gate in order to send it early. That should be something the manager should be able to do.
Yeah,
or
I think that would be cool. Yeah,
just send it out as soon as it's fulfilled, instead of just leaving it open.
I think it should be automated. It should sense, okay, the 3 things have been submitted, let's go.
And then you have until the time to fulfill the entire order or leave it partial. Like that's where I would think it would be it would be good, because if you are able to send out orders early, that means you can refill orders. That means you get more. Like you still have an income, you still have stuff coming in, and that's where I've like, because I think I realized that later, that oh shit, I can actually send the order off early, and then the button in the manager's office with a little exclamation point refills that order. So it doesn't have to auto-populate. No, you can actually just go click it and ask for a new order. So there was a lot going on. Yeah, a lot. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it, and I think we should try again at some point. Preferably from scratch and trying, I don't know, maybe playing through the tutorial, even though we've already played it. Kind of. Yeah,
could be a good idea now that we've seen what we're up against. I think if they address some of the points we've discussed, maybe not all of them, some of them could have just been down to us, and probably most certainly I think were, but I think that if nothing else, I just think that if you're going to have something like, you know, easy starting level, then it kind of, you know, and you've got 3 levels or whatever, you kind of need 2 or 3 maps that are a little bit samey, and kind of are easy and fulfill that. Because I don't think it was easy, because the amount that changed at the speed it changed, for me, isn't what I would consider easy. Even if they could be, like, it makes me wonder how ridiculously difficult are the next ones then.
Yep.
But anyway, that I don't want to get into speculating too much on that, but I think they've got a possible little gem on their hands.
Definitely.
Maybe a lot of people are already having fun and seeing it that way, but not quite. Like, so close, but not quite. And so our passion is just showing through in terms of we want them to have a good time with it and do the best they can, kind of thing. But yeah, that was ham.
Yeah, it was indeed. And in other games where you can go ham, just a very quick mention to police simulator patrol officers, which I've been playing together with Cthulhu. It's, if I say the phrase German simulator shovelware to you, do you understand what I mean?
Not really.
Okay. For a long time, job simulator games have been super popular in Germany. And we're not even talking highly polished ones like Farming Simulator. No, we're talking, this is Tunnel Boring Machine Simulator from mid 2000s, 2010 or whatever. Right. And then it's like, what do we do? Well, like, how do you play tunnel boring? No, you just send a tunnel boring machine and then you maintain it. Okay. and it's all of these kind of janky physics and a bit naff. However, police simulator is not shovelware. It's also set in America, so you are very American. We're talking bald eagles on the cars. We're talking very, very, very American setting.
Right.
It is made by a German company, and it's even, I think it was even ordered by German Department of Education or something like that. There is an official, like, governmental German stamp on the game as you load it up. So it's done well, and it's meant to take policing very seriously, like with questioning and how you go through things and so on. And I'm like, because we've been playing it and sitting there going, this is not how we perceive American police at all. We're well behaved. We're not, and I'm not gonna say some of the things because that's gonna get us canceled. Well, not necessarily canceled, just made not very popular anymore. But we've been sitting there playing it and being like, okay, it's nice, and it random generates the crime, it random generates the people. And I've had a lot of fun with it, but I'm not sure where to classify it. Like, how it's a good simulator because you get punished if you don't do things correctly. It's not like, oh well, pull the gun on someone. It doesn't matter. Let's just put it away. No, you get penalized if you do that. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, I'll try not to do that again then. But of course, there's physics jank too, because we had a moment where Cthulhu was stuck in a menu talking to someone, because sometimes you need to help people find places like bars or art placements, or just things in the city that you've noticed. And he was stuck in a menu, being like, yes, I would love to point this out to you, sir. However, I'm not allowed to click or point at the map properly. you know, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to pull my taser and shoot him. Not the person he was helping, but I had to shoot him. But the person he was helping was like, oh my God, and then ran away. And that kind of interrupted the interaction. So it was like, okay, well, there's part of the jank. But it's it's a 2-person game. The driving is absolutely horrendous. But there are some moments in it, and I've even watched the Norwegian police play this live on their streams, and that was really cool, because then you get the perspective of the actual police officers in Norway going like, okay, this is how we would approach this situation, this is how we would question, this is what we would look for, and this is how the process would go further on. And that was really cool. But sitting here as a civilian being like, I didn't expect this to be a serious sim. Okay. Fun. You know, it's worth having a look at least. But like I said, two-player game. That's all.
Interesting.
Moving quickly along to other sim games that are weird and strange. Car Service Together came out in their very early access recently. That's a 4-person game, and it's beautiful. This thing is made for streamers. I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
Because my God, the the things you can do, and kind of the attention you need to have to things, like it's everything from you start out working on radas, aka ladas, and doing simple jobs, to slowly working up your shop, to being able to do body work, to being allowed to work on BMWs and Toyotas and so on and so forth. So you get many things. And it was me, Cthulhu, Punky, and Andritos together. And we pretty much just speed ran the entire game because we found the secret money hack.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is something they're hopefully going to balance. Whenever there's a customer saying no extra repairs accepted, you can't, you have to follow the worksheet, like change the tires and so on, and then you're done. Like, send it on its way. However, there are some of them coming in being like, extra repairs are fine. And when you have access to very high-end parts, that means that they pay for the high-end parts. It means you can do full body work on it. They'll pay for that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Which means you pretty much have an infinite money glitch. Oh, I want my oil changed, but I don't mind extra repairs. Oh boy. Oh, no. Okay, you're getting neon lights. You're getting the
come back
works.
on 22-inch rims and like, what the heck have you done to my Ford Fiesta?
It's now a Toyota Supra. Hey, it's that sort of thing almost. No, like we quickly noticed that, and it was like any car coming in that didn't have the extra repairs, we were like, no, you're fine. You have to go somewhere else. But all of those that came in and said extra repairs were fine. Oh yeah, we went ham. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And you have to open up your shop more and more, get more tools, better tools. But this is definitely one to keep in mind for Friday night shenanigans, or even a Sunday morning together with a dinner party at some point. It's not as exploratory, but it's it's one of those. Yeah, we can definitely have fun with this.
Okay. Our service together.
Yeah, definitely keep that on your radar.
Okay.
in something called Skyrim. There's a new indie title. I want to talk a bit about that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing Skyrim story, and I don't know why, but unlike Starfield, this doesn't drag me back in.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing making me go, ooh, I want to figure this out. I want to understand this. There's nothing about the story that makes me go, ooh, what do I do here? And I'm not sure why, because it's a good game. It has cool moments. It has fun mechanics in being a sneaky orc that fires arrows at people's heads. Insta-killing vampires, that should probably be a big issue, and so on. But there's nothing dragging me back. You've played Skyrim.
Yeah. What
was your thought?
I had a similar kind of experience and takeaway from it. It's so weird because on the one hand, it'd been hyped and talked about for so long. So I was kind of a bit cautious and thinking, well, okay, we just go in with this as blind as possible and see what happens. Everyone rants and raves about it. And, I got into it like after 12 years or something. So, but it was a little bit like, the feeling of like the slightly nervous going into it, like with Red Dead, because I was like, is it really going to live up to this? Is it going to be that good? And my first impression, and it was, obviously it's a little bit dated, but, nothing terrible. And really sort of beautifully crafted and everything. And I thought, okay, this is cool. This is going to be, great, like people have said. But as it progressed, I kind of take away exactly as you've described. There's something where it hasn't hooked me.
Yeah.
It almost kind of hooked me a little bit when I had like the dragon interactions and things, and I was like, okay, that's pretty epic. Let's see, where this is going to go. But I think almost in a victim of itself, where I know there's all the jokes and memes about it being the mother of all side quests. The 10,000 side quests are the story. But I did find myself, and we joked about this recently as well, where I got a little bit kind of lost and confused as to what quest am I actually on right now. And I feel like that's kind of part of the problem for me. It's almost overwhelming, in a way that Red Dead has this huge story, but you're more or less following that thread most of the time, whilst you're able to go off and you get pulled off into little encapsulated kind of like side quests. They're just little closed stories that don't have that big of a bearing, but do give you those kind of, oh my goodness kind of moments. Or lots of laughs or some sadness or whatever. So they have emotional but they're little snippets, and they're like 10 minutes and you've wrapped it up kind of thing. Whereas with the Skyrim, it's like, oh, but this side quest is going to take you 300 miles over there to the east. Exaggerating for comic effect, but and I think it felt a little bit more disjointed or confusing. I liked the big open world, but at the same time, I didn't feel like the threads really grabbed me enough. Like I couldn't, and I know some of this is also my bad memory, but I couldn't tell you now we played a couple of like longer sessions of it. I couldn't really tell you. I'd have to restart it again now. It has been a little while, so to be fair, only looking at it once and then a lot of time's gone. But I think that's also a thing of like nothing, not a single thing of it really. I suppose the only thing that really stuck in my mind is that as a Khajiit that I was playing, I could fish on the edge of a waterfall. I know that's me and fishing and that meme, but like literally, I'm trying really hard right now, and I can't think of like what were the other big kind of moments or big that and that dragon scene or whatever at the beginning, and I guess that kind of similar kind of takeaway as you of like I think this is great, and if people have loved it and really enjoyed it, and and we've got people in the community and friends that still play it now, and all that's awesome. But for whatever reason, I didn't. It didn't. It didn't grab me that way.
Starfield fully grabbed me. Like
Right.
that got me, and it's built in a similar fashion. It's built in a similar way. Big open world, almost infinite amount of side quests. Like Skyrim is infinite amount. Like it will literally random generate side quests for you. I don't think Starfield does that. I could be wrong, but the Starfield world, with the shipbuilding, with the travel, with the exploration of the planets and systems and so on, that fully grabbed me. But it also had a very clear main story for me to follow. I'm struggling to find that in Skyrim, and it's weird. Like, I know it's there. I know I could technically do it, but there's nothing telling me that, okay, once you've reached this level, now would be a good time to go back to your main quest. You know, because like often games like this, they will build it up that you have this main quest line, but it won't stop you from normally games give you a main quest line, you start the main quest, and then it fills out other side quests. Where once you reach a certain level or progress, it'll say, okay, it may be smart to go on with the next main quest part. Because that's the only way you unlock even more of the game, even more of the side quests, and so on.
Yeah.
So you could technically do all the side quests and then go on to a next logical part.
Yeah.
Skyrim allows you to do whatever you want, whenever you want it, almost.
Yeah.
So as a main character, I could be trudging along in the wilds in Skyrim, and suddenly, oh, why is that dragon chasing me? What's going on? I'm not I'm not high enough level to deal with this. What's going on? Why are there two of them? And having that kind of moment. And then you try to make it back, and it's just like, okay, what do I do now? I'll just do this. I'll just do this side quest over here. What do you mean there's 52 Atronach spawning trying to kill me when I do this? There's no given level. There's no given kind of, oh, you might need to wait with this. Like there's no shaped path.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of people, really cool for them by all means, but it's lacking a bit of substance, for the lack of a better word, for me. Like it needs to be a bit more guided for my sake. That said, I would really love to do it in a multiplayer setting and hop in and do a few quests as a party. But I'm not sure if you can do the whole heal part and tank part. Like I'm not sure I can heal others. Oh god, hiccups. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, but I agree with you. I think as a big, kind of playing it the way we would play Enshrouded or something, as just going around doing the quests and everything. Because it's funny actually, because with Enshrouded sometimes I miss the story itself and the hook of the story. Like you find a lot of lore and it's all beautifully crafted and whatever, but it's kind of like like you're reading a random page from a random book in a library that you found randomly. With Enshrouded, I feel like there's no, like, I don't feel as invested in the central story. Skyrim feels like it has a stronger story, but I feel more like a reader, like an observer of it, like I'm witnessing it rather than I'm influencing or in the midst of it. But I think ultimately, like Red Dead is one of the things that makes Red Dead a masterpiece is that the story is broken up in these chapters and has this through line. And all the different, you're having an arc, and all the other characters in the camp are having an arc as well, and you can be as close or far away from them as you choose. I didn't understand, like I understood in a game mechanical sense with Skyrim, like how I was progressing, what skills I wanted to unlock. But and I saw that there were a couple of like big things happening in the world, but you know, as we've talked about before, for me, I guess I've played 22 hours of it. And I got confused thinking I was following the main quest and I was actually on a side quest in a completely different location.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought I'm on the main quest.
and it perfectly speaks to my point. Like you're kind of going around and being like, who are these world, what? Voice of the world? Yeah. What? Who are they? Oh, that's the main quest. Why am I not doing that? You know, you can literally have one of those moments, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'll keep it in mind. I'll have a look, but we'll just have to see how it plays out, I think. It's, yeah, like give me an option of healing others, and I'll definitely have a look at it in multiplayer with you guys. Definitely. But we're gonna move straight along. We don't really need to talk about a game that's been out for how many years now? I don't know. 2012 was it? Skyrim came out, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But there are plenty of new games coming out, and one game that I'm going to be checking out soon, which is why it's getting a mention here, is called Blossom: The Seed of Life. I know Lima has played it a bit. You're a tiny robot, and your task is to breathe life back into the universe. Pretty much. You go around and you fix planets by planting, by simply bio fixing a planet, and I think that's really cool. And I saw it, and I was like, yeah, this is a game I can enjoy, because it gave me kind of Astroneer vibes, but the fact that it's like it's not combat based or anything, it's just, yeah, this is nice. I'm here for it. So Blossom will soon be coming to a channel near you. I think it might be a game that you might also enjoy. So I'd suggest putting it on a wish list there, Rebels.
Okay, yeah, I'll have a look.
But other games that I think we really should be looking at in in the dinner party, and also going to be some Friday night shenanigans for my sake. Roadside Research. Are you familiar?
I am not. Tell me about Roadside Research.
Okay. It's a multiplayer game where you and your friends play as intergalactic spies on a mission to figure out what is going on. And the way you do it is you take over a gas station.
Oh. I think I've seen Doc Gluon playing this.
Does this start to ring a bell now?
Yeah. You got to take pictures of people as one of the things.
Yeah,
right?
like they fall over. There's a tech tree. There's like you need to make money. You need to keep helping you need to restock stuff. Like there's so much potential for shenanigans. It came out in February, and it has up to 4 people in co-op, and like it's in early access. I think it's for like €10 right now ish.
Yeah, $9.35.
Yeah, and ending in 2 days. Yeah. So think supermarket simulator-ish, but with an added twist of you guys are aliens and need to do some some shenanigans. And I think it looks potentially so good because there's janky physics when these aliens are running around, and yeah, it's I can really see this being a good thing for both dinner party and for my own Friday night shenanigans. Like I said, I'm just looking at it on Steam right now, and the intro video is just absolutely wild. I am so loving the thought of this. Yeah. Am I gonna have to? One friend already owns this game. Andritos. Oh, would you look at that? I'm shocked. Where are my topics again? There are my topics. That we'll probably see. Speaking of the sea, Ships at Sea has had an update today. And the biggest thing about that, because one thing that we struggle with and the thought of was it's limited to 4 people.
Yeah.
They now have dedicated servers with up to 8 people.
Oh, nice.
Yes, indeed. And seeing their roadmap, where the thought is to bring in more NPC life, like other boats, and simply just make it be more alive, Ships at Sea is looking more and more interesting. So, 0.86 is live as of I think my update finished today, but it was posted on Friday.
Yeah, I got one last night on Steam, I think.
So the normal friends list and peer-to-peer is still 4 players, but dedicated servers can be set up, and that's up to 8 players in the same session.
Nice.
And I think that's maybe the biggest thing. I'm not sure if I'll need to buy another license for it. I'll have to look around with it. But either way, weather system has a huge overhaul, even more overhaul to the waves. And I think we are also about to receive tier 4 boats, which could be nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, like it's definitely getting up there. And we've already had fun with it, by all means.
Yep.
But if we're starting to think that we can even have more people than just 4 of us, meaning it's a bit more, what should we say, alive for us, potentially have people from the community together with us. Like, they don't necessarily have to be on comms with us, but they can be in the session together with us as we're playing. That makes it even more fun, right?
Yep.
So and that's maybe one of my favorite thoughts of this. I'm all for the ecosystem rework for fish and making it more like quality of life stuff. But like just more players. That's simply it. Another, like, speaking of quality of life, there is now a soak timer on your gear, allowing you to see how long it's been there.
Oh, okay.
So they are working on things, and the map will now be way more detailed and dynamic, and just, yeah.
Cool.
So I think we definitely have reason to poke back into it and maybe start from scratch instead of starting with a bit of money, and that way we can actually work our way from scratch and up. So
Nice.
yeah, maybe sometime in the future. Who knows?
Yep.
That, however, brings us out of the games category and into our community contributions. Unless we have something else. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention I've been playing The Division 2 again because it's at its 10-year anniversary, or The Division has its 10-year anniversary. Right. And I played together with some friends of the community and some of my clanmates from the game. Dane TV, who has joined us for some shenanigans, and Mr. Senko. And we played through some of the realism mode, and like instantly, so much nostalgia, and it's definitely a game I will be touching more, but it's fabulous. Fabulous game. Oh. Absolutely love it. Anyway, Mari has a question for us. Where did I have that question? There it is. She says, we've all seen a bit of Vintage Story and Hytale, but lately more and more Minecraft-esque games start popping up. What is your current take on things like Lay of the Land and Everwind? Do those excite you? Take us away, Grumbles.
So I will be looking at Everwind tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to it. I've watched Beebles. He did a cheeky little first look kind of short early access review. And yeah, I'm very excited to look at that one. There's been a few games lately where they kind of go in the, Hytale was an example. They're in the category for me of like, I don't need any other games right now. Nobody release anything. Hold, I'm fine. And yeah, we saw how that went with Hytale as an example. So yeah, I'm enthusiastic. Anytime you're gonna put like flying balloon boats in a game, anything where I can make my own flying ships, you're gonna get my attention. So it's pretty straightforward, devs. If you want my attention, put flying ships in your game. So yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, to the point, I think there have been, more and more of these kind of games with some of this overlap, and to an extent it makes sense because they see some success of things. But what I'm enjoying is that most of these games are coming with their own kind of spin on things. They're bringing something that is fairly unique, or if not entirely unique, at least it is distinct enough that you can say, okay, I see how this differs from game ABC. Often Minecraft. So it makes me enthusiastic that it's not just, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of ones out there that are just like people trying to cash in on, Hytale made a big splash, so let's make something that looks a bit like, but again, like with Everwind, it looks distinct. It's doing something different. It's a mobile based story and flying amongst islands and things like that. I like it. Sign me up. Let's have a look.
And I'll be honest, like Everwind, Lay of the Land, and some of these other titles that have popped up, I've not even looked at. But I do really enjoy that style of it. I really do enjoy the look of those games and the thought of those games. But there's also there's always one thing that makes me slightly weary with them. It's the fact that if I play them alone, it's either going to utterly consume everything I do, or it's money I spend on something that I play for 2-3 hours and I'm like, this wasn't anything for me. Or if I end up playing with a group, it's usually, okay, someone has played this for a long time, and then I just get dragged by my beard from the start to the end and be like, okay, now you can play. And I'm standing there at the end of the game being like, but I don't, what? And then everyone's like, "Oh, we gotta get this. We can do there. We can go there. We can click there." I'm like, "Okay, but how? Where? Why?" And then nobody's answering me when I have these questions, and it's like, "Okay, I'll pick up some grass and put it in a box. That's fun." I'll be there. But but the fact that they're coming in, like both of these games are coming in after both Hytale and Vintage Story, because I've seen more and more people pick up Vintage Story now. And I'm not just talking within this social circle. Like I see it pop up more and more on TikTok and on other places. That could be because I'm consuming it more, by all means, but there are more people that are picking it up. And I'm kind of sitting here going, okay, but what is it you bring to the table? You know? Because right now, Hytale is maybe the one that's the most interesting for me because of the system. Like it gives me kind of this is Enshrouded and Vintage Story packed together kind of feel, which is cool. But then again, you have like the like Everwind, you said, with the mobile base.
Yeah.
That's also really cool. Like that gives its own kind of twist on things, and it's like, what do I think of that? But Everwind, I will say, has very different graphics from a lot of the others.
Yeah.
Which makes it a bit more appealing to me. In this case, at least, because like when you have things be a bit too samey, it loses a bit of its charm. Which is why I play Vintage Story with all the colors. Like everything is green and lush and wonderful when I play Vintage Story.
Yeah, that's the last thing I was looking at with Vintage Story was reshaders, for exactly that reason, because I know it's the vibe they went for, with everything being a little bit kind of broken world and drab or kind of thing, or like diluted colors. But I've noticed that my playtime diminishes in that game in large part, not because the game's changed or I'm not enjoying it as much, but just because I don't want to spend all my time in that kind of muddy, murky, kind of feeling world. So yeah, it is important.
I just simply turned up the what's it called? Saturation.
Okay.
There's some of the settings that's in base game right now where it just made everything green and lush and wonderful. I was like, oh, this is nice. So
that's cool.
Yeah. In short, something I'm looking at and keeping in mind, but like we've kind of mentioned already a couple of times, it's just there's just so much going on, just so many games these days, which is a luxury problem. Let's be fair.
Yep.
Tilted also has a question for us. Since the world has gone to shit, I have tried to distract myself with a mountain, Danish size, of books. What is your favorite book? And in parentheses, S, if you have multiple. First, I want to address the controversy of the claims of Danish mountains. This is a lie told to you by the world media. There's no such thing as a Danish mountain. Just so that's said. So nobody believe what Tilted says, that there are mountains in Denmark. Okay. Secondly, for my sake, like I I struggle with reading. Because of, well, focus issues. Turns out that should be one of the things that they look for in a kid when it comes to ADHD. You know, how well does it read? How well does it focus on sentences? I always struggle. Like, read really slow and get bored mid-sentence and trail off and then have to restart the page 17 times. But for some strange reason, when I was, I think, 11, my brothers and my mom gave me Lord of the Rings in English. And I flew through that thing again and again and again. I loved that. I read The Hobbit. Loved that. And from I was 10, 11 to 20, I read The Lord of the Rings once a year. So that is definitely up there for me. But I think my favorite book is still The Gunslinger, the first book of the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. And I can't tell you why, but like there's something about that setting and the way it starts. It just hooks you, for my sake. And yeah, but in general, anything fantasy I can really enjoy, which is why I also really enjoyed Game of Thrones. And also things based in the Blizzard world. So the Warcraft novels, be that anything about the Stormrage twins to the Journey of Thrall, like all of these topics, wonderful. But also books set in the Diablo setting and universe, I also absolutely love. But yeah, Stephen King, The Gunslinger, I'd say. How about you?
Yeah, interesting. I've never been that big of a reader. I went through phases in my professional life reading a lot of literature, like business books and stuff like that. But yeah, half of them you can just throw back in the bin again afterwards. Ones that were maybe more interesting were things like psychology and emotional intelligence was quite a good one. In terms of like books, the ones I've enjoyed the most are generally either something factual or like based on historical events. So things like Stalingrad, for example, where a lot of it are excerpts and summaries of like actual events from World War II, and you know, statements by key figures as well as like people who were on the ground and civilians and all sorts of things. So I find all of that fascinating, in part because a lot of it just blows my mind. Like, how did this all even just happen? How? Because it's still, and it's not in terms of like, well, this happened and then this happened and then that triggered that and then we went to war. I don't mean it in a, you know, what were the facts, but just how did we allow these things to happen and then perpetuate for years, you know, and millions of people dying and hundreds and thousands of kilometers being covered, and you know, just it just blows my mind constantly. Not, you know, partly I guess in a relatively sheltered life because I don't thankfully have to be on a front line fighting and all the rest of it, like many might still do, but just things like that, like those kind of events, I find a good distraction and good for a read. In terms of like fantasy stories and that, I've been trying to start reading Lord of the Rings. With my eyesight, I've been reading it a little bit on Kindle because I can just change the size of the font and all the rest of it, and that helps me. But I'm I'm often, maybe partly in a way, bad way, because of too much screen time. So I'm ending up feeling tired and then not continuing. But the other thing is, it's interesting because I've known other people that have done similar to you. They've read it young and then just read it every once a year and all the rest of it. And funnily enough, I love the movies, and I love the lore and all the ideas around it. But I'm finding the actual language and of the book a real pain in the butt to get my head around. The way it's written is awkward to me, and because I'm getting to this at a later adult stage, maybe that's a thing, I don't know.
Could be.
I'm just really like tripping over the language and the way he's like, and then there's this, and then this little aside, and then this little detail, and I'm like, this is amazing world building. But and again, I'm really emphasizing the fact that I'm not criticizing the man as an author, because it's clear and obvious what an amazing author he was, and I'm not. But for me personally, I'm really struggling to get hooked on it, because I'm just tripping over the language and the formulation of things. And it's a little bit like if you, not to the same degree, but a little bit like if you read like Shakespearean text or something. I'm like, this is English and I can read and understand the words, but how is this the sentence? Or like, you know, I'm not enthralled, because I guess I'm being challenged by what I'm reading on every sentence.
I think that's part of Tolkien's kind of allure in a way. Like the language itself is a challenge. I will fully admit that, and I will fully understand that could be a reason why some people do not enjoy Lord of the Rings or Silmarillion or The Hobbit, because they are so, like, the language and the way he writes is very different.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it with it just being English, but no, like the fact that he has, like, he invented the Elven language after all. He was a professor of languages, and he existed in a time where him and his peers, like, they had this grand opportunity of writing these fabulous, grandiose worlds. Like, he used to share a table in a pub with C.S. Lewis, was it?
I can't remember, but I know there was a whole gaggle of them that were, you know, top authors and linguists and all the rest of it. I know so many of them didn't. They had a special group. They I can't remember the name of it, but many of them didn't make it back from World War One, and you know, that obviously impacted his life and his writing as well. So yeah, but I think you're right. I think it's a good point.
So yeah, it's a different world and a different way of writing, but it's done in a way where I don't know why my brain just kind of went, okay, woo, I love this. But that could be because it's my second language. It's not my first language. I approach it with a different mindset than you would as a native speaker. It could be. It could also be the language or the age. But I saw one thing. I struggled with the language in Game of Thrones. I loved it, but what I needed to do there was I needed to have the audiobook on at the same time as I was reading.
Right.
And that allowed me to read through in a good way and pick it up and not get distracted and not lose myself in sentences and so on. I don't know. That might actually be a way of doing it. Ooh. Get the Andy Serkis audiobook while reading. Because I think he does an audiobook version of Lord of the Rings, doesn't he?
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, having Gollum read Lord of the Rings while you're reading it alongside, you know what? I might need to do that. I might need to do that myself. But you mentioned you liking factual stuff and things like that. I think I can recommend a book to you that you might enjoy in that case. And it's Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything, where he talks about very factual things, and tries to sum up history. It sounds wild, but it's actually it's really cool, where he talks about, okay, how big is one piece of paper compared to the Empire State Building, and then that distance in relation, what does that equate to out in the universe, and so on and so forth. And it's really cool book. So I think that's the sort of stuff that you could enjoy, because it's factual, it's built in reality, but it has these wonderful factoids and such that can be enjoyed.
Interesting.
So yeah, Bill Bryson's A Short History of Nearly Everything, I think it's called, if I'm not misremembering completely. Tilted has a little victory. It's a nice little victory. I like it. It's called Yay, we made it to spring. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, not to be pedantic, but I'd like a little bit more detail about how you and or we achieved spring.
I mean, I'm looking outside right now. It's still winter here for my sake. We had 10 centimeters of snow overnight, so yeah. I'm not sure where he finds the spring, but I'm like, cool.
Well, I mean, but as far north as you are, you have mostly winter, and then a little bit of a chilly spring, and lots of sunlight, but no real heat coming from it, and then it's winter again.
Yep.
You don't really have 4 seasons, I would imagine.
No. We have winter, wet.
Yeah.
Summer, and then wet, and then winter. Yeah. So wet and dark. Sorry, is this the second part? But I mean, honestly, in this economy, just making it through and still being around, that's pretty big, I'd say. That's pretty big. Thank you for being around with us, and still having the energy to contribute and being fabulous, all of you. That's an achievement in itself. Like I always talk about celebrating the little victories, and as silly as it sounds, some days the little victory is just getting out of bed and saying, "Screw you, world. I'm just gonna be here," out of pure spite.
Not accepting defeat. Yep.
Speaking of not accepting defeat, thank you to our patrons.
That's a weird segue.
It's a very weird segue, but it works. Kinda. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Thank you to our patrons who over on patreon.com/exit report. That's patreon.com/exit report. I almost said patreon.tv because it's twitch.tv. But yeah, patreon.com/exit report. You can pledge $2 a month. And what you get then is you get early access to the episode that comes out. You get the guaranteed opportunity of us answering your question, either in a DM or in a Patreon exclusive, or fully here on the episode. Especially, like, we'll definitely be paying attention to that on days where we have way more topics to think about and worry about. But that is one of those options. But $2 a month or equivalent, and you can help out and make sure that we continue having money for hosting and all of these things. So thank you to Maringana, FionnMacCorvus, Tiltedhead, LimaZuluTango, Introvert, Just Mick here, and LadyLAlien, aka LadyLAlien. Thank you so much, all of you, for continuing your patronage to us. And that is something to smile about, honestly. The fact that people are still giving us money. Like, what the hell?
Thank you for the support.
Indeed. Speaking of support, You've been doing something supportive, which is your
Indeed.
something to smile about.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and
Been a long time.
something that we were able to build up towards, thankfully, with a tiny bit of notice. But we were able to do another charity stream for Hope for the Day this past Saturday, playing a little bit of Shippy Ships. And it was just wonderful to see an enthusiastic crowd. As always, we had some nice people coming in and raiding and bringing their crews over as well to support even further. And we had lots and lots of people anonymously and nominally donating to the cause where it was safe and comfortable to do so. And just all round a good day. And I managed to sustain pretty good energy all the way through as well. So we got to bring out a few roleplay characters behind some cheeky little milestones. And the main challenge I had was that everyone was just powering through the milestones too quickly, through no fault of my own, I would add. So we were just, improvising as always and juggling a few things around and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But it was a good laugh and it was really good fun. And I managed to end the day exhausted, but with a smile on my face. So. Yeah, thank you again to all those who showed kindness and love and support, regardless of whether you were just lurking along or chitter-chatting with us, enjoying the show. I know there's always a percentage of World of Warships people who are very bamboozled by hearing roleplay and shenanigans of my type in the ships game. They're like, what's all this about? But thankfully, enough of them seem to like it and kind of just go with the flow. So
the OGs will know. The OGs will know.
Exactly. A good day was had, and I'm delighted. We raised $1,379.69.
Nice.
Yep.
That's pretty good. As always with these things, any little amount helps, and not just amounts, but also spreading the awareness of it. Like talking about things, telling your friends, hey, I saw this crazy guy roleplay a Lenin. You should watch him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the sort of stuff that helps and that can bring even more eyes on. And that's important.
Yep.
And if I get to enjoy multiple hours of listening to you be multiple of your characters in a setting where I'm also familiar with the game, I'm like, okay, I'm all for this. I can hang out here. So it was fun to watch too. I will say that.
That's good.
I'm gonna do a bit of a cop out here. Because like it's kind of like whenever you talk about the how much it makes you smile to see the communities come together and so on, like, which is of course good, but it tends to be a bit of a cop out for us because it's something that always makes us smile. So but yeah, my little thing here is called the Jar of Love, or Jar of Love, and I originally had a different thing, but I wanted to refresh my mind on it because it was a wonderful video that made me genuinely chuckle and smile for a whole day. Because there were people that sounded a whole lot like the Ezekiel and Tony video, but they were fishing. And one of the comments in it said, "It's nice to see that Tony and Ezekiel have made up." And it was beautiful, but I couldn't refresh my mind on the video, so I can't properly relay why that was a good comment. However, in my struggle to find something else to smile about, I recently, like, Mari was here for a long time into early March. Like, she was here from early February into mid-March, actually. So it's not like it's not that long ago since she went home. And normally, whenever she's been here, she leaves these tiny notes with tiny drippings of love all around the house, like hidden in places where like I find them at random. and some days they are very much needed, but they're just random, right? You know.
Mm-hmm.
Other days they can be like whereas the note is super, like, it's a beautiful piece of love that is, it comes at an inopportune time, because then it's all emotions. There's you know, there's ugly crying going on. and then it's not always that we need that when we're in the middle of a day-to-day. But what she did this time was she took a jar of a freeze-dried coffee, instant coffee, that she emptied out, and she put a little tiny bit of tape on it, and she wrote on that jar, and she put all of these notes in there. So now, whenever I need a tiny bit of a smile or an encouragement or such, I can go in there and I can pick up a note that has a little nice tidbit on it. And nice. the other day I had one of those days where I needed that, and I went in, I picked out a note at random, because they're not very big. They're just tiny little notes, and on this one it said, "I love cuddling with you and watching silly TikToks. I love hearing your beautiful laughter." That's all. Like, it's just tiny notes like that everywhere. And now they're all in a jar so that I know where they are. I have access to them when I need them. And yeah, it just made me smile. So there's that. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Everyone else at home, please tell us about what you have to smile about. Tell us your little victories. Tell us about your games that you've been playing lately, or games you're looking forward to. Games you're looking forward to us playing. Suggestions of games. All of these things. Let us know in the comments down below, or on our Discords, or on Patreon. One last note regarding Patreon. You can join there free too, by the way. It's not just paid. There is a free tier that where you can access the podcast to all in one place. Just so that's said. So you can be there too as a free patron. And even for people on the free side, you can leave comments there too if you want. Anyway, that's enough ranting and raving from us. I think. Anything else to add?
No. No. But I would. Well, actually, I have one thing to add, and it's just a bit of punnage. Timing's all wrong now, but I'd like to say that your something to smile about was not jarring at all.
I like that. That's good. That's good. Segues all over the place, callbacks that are a tiny bit out of whack. Not really out of whack, but it's fine. It's been a podcast, and without further ado, it's going to be a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Grumbles.
Good vibes, everyone.
And like and support in the next. Goodbye.